Hello, welcome to another episode of Swapping Joysticks. I'm your host, Ben Ostrick, otherwise known as Biggest Bennis, and joining me, as always, is indoors, Ed Nightingale.
Sleepy Ed, tired Ed.
His indoors, because he's always indoors.
Forever indoors.
Welcome. This is an episode of Swapping Joysticks, as always. It has been a week since the last one, because we were just so hectic. Oh, it's been 2 weeks since the last one, but we missed 1 week. It was just really, really hectic. But we are back, and we're going to be talking about Fallout TV show. That's actually one of the reasons why we didn't do it last week, because we saw the first 2 episodes of Fallout. Also going to talk about the BAFTAs that have just this moment been announced, and also what we've been playing. So should we go? Well, actually, how have you been, Ed? Because I say that after chatting the entire first 2 minutes or minute of this, but I'm going to try and talk a little bit less because I do have the remnants of a tooth infection. So every time my teeth touch on that tooth, it kind of sends a bit of a chill down my jaw. So I'll try not to speak as much.
Sorry, I was trying to hold my tea, and I'm like, it's too hot. I've only just made it. It's a hot cup of tea. Who would have thought? How am I? I'm all right. Yeah,
you just got back from the BAFTAs, haven't you?
I have just got back from the BAFTAs from the red carpet, which is not as glamorous as it sounds.
Is it not? Well, it's because you were the one not dressing up.
No, everyone else was in suits, and I was like, well, I'm working, so I just wore jeans and trainers.
Yeah, you still have very, very dashing.
Thank you. Ben Starr's partner told me I looked very south of France, and I will take that.
Yeah, very. You look like you were on strike.
Wow, like a French person on strike.
Yeah,
no, it's always fun doing the red carpet, but it's like you're on the outside looking in, so everyone else is all dressed up and on the carpet looking glamorous, and then you're just there like asking questions and recording things. So it's not quite as glamorous work as you might think.
Yeah, but just think they have to pay like hundreds of pounds per ticket, and you don't. You get to come home and have a carbonara.
That's true. I came home and cooked you dinner.
You ate it as well.
Yes, I did.
One of my favourite things that you do is a carbonara. It's so easy as well. But
you're welcome.
Sometimes the easiest is the best.
We've just watched the awards.
We did, yeah. We went and watched it on the TV, which was nice. I think people were co-hosting it as well on Twitch, but we watched it on YouTube on the big TV. And I say big TV because it was amazing seeing some people that we know literally on our big TV in the living room. It's like, oh, wow, I know those people.
Shout out to Danny Ebonix.
Yes, Ebonix, who was doing an amazing job of presenting. And she's a veteran. She is.
It's the second time she's done it.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's
Cassie's turn next year.
Just to shout Danny out more, like, she's had an amazing week. Like, presenting a BAFTA award. She's in The Sims.
Well, she's created the Sims pack, using her own styles that she's built in creative content. Yeah, she's phenomenal.
Deserved is what that is.
Yes. Hard work does pay off sometimes.
Does it?
Sometimes.
Who knew?
Well, we won't be talking about that much. Well, yeah, it does. For many people, just not you.
Wow, thanks, man.
No, you're every dog has its day. Your day will come.
I'm a dog now, is that it?
No, you're more of a... Yeah. If I say you're more of a poodle, but a poodle is also a dog.
A poodle is a dog, so that would make sense, wouldn't it?
But yeah, so how was the BAFTAs then? Should we do the BAFTAs first?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
We'll do that first, and then we'll do the Fallout.
Yeah, I mean, BAFTAs was, like I say, it's, you're on the outside looking in, basically, when everyone else is having fun. I will say Neil Newbon looked incredible.
Always does.
Very tall, very dashing, like in this amazing like suit, cool jewellery. Ben Starr also looked great in a lovely red suit.
Could you see him? Was it just like a head bobbing along on the red carpet?
Oh.
Was he camouflaged?
Oh, very funny. No, I saw him.
Oh.
He was seen. I got to speak to a lot of the Baldur's Gate 3 cast, which was cool.
Who's your favourite?
I was going to say, and then I was like, no, I can't possibly say.
Obviously, Deborah Wilde or Jennifer English, who we had on the podcast.
Of course, but neither of them were there.
Oh, okay. So who was your favourite that
was there that I spoke to? I'm going to say Amelia Tyler. She was very cool. Just super friendly. And also was on the red carpet from the very beginning and spoke to everybody.
You appreciate
And
that.
a lot of people just kind of jump around and didn't speak to everyone. I didn't get a chance to speak to a lot of people I wanted to. But Amelia Tyler spoke to every single person. She
Aw.
was great.
That's good.
So yeah, it's always fun. And then you get to watch everyone else go in and drink champagne and have a nice time, and then you come home afterwards.
I should have said I'd have got the champagne out.
Thanks.
No, I'm on antibiotics. I couldn't give
You can't drink, and I just came in knackered and wanted a cup of tea. So
you've got one.
here we are. We've got that now.
Yeah.
But yes, the awards have just finished, so now we know who won.
Yeah.
Should we go through?
And now we're
them?
going to go through and say whether they actually deserved it or not.
Well, we can debate. I mean, I will just say in terms of headlines, like Baldur's Gate 3 won the most. Alan Wake won a couple. And a couple
Don't spoil it for everybody.
A couple for Nintendo as well. So animation went to Hi-Fi Rush.
I feel like if there's going to be any like award for that game, animation is the one. And
Yeah, like I guess it's because it is a sort of cartoon style game. It is obviously very well animated, but it has a very distinct visual style. So I could see it winning a sort of artistic achievement as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, animation, brilliant. And the way that the animation is synced to the music in that game, like that is what makes that game sing.
I need to go back to that. Oh, let me just pause 1 second. Right, we're back. I forgot to take my pills. It reminded me when we were talking about it. I was like, oh.
Shocking. So yeah, Hi-Fi Rush wins animation. It beat Alan Wake 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Spider-Man 2, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Can I just say, Hogwarts Legacy, obviously kind of rightfully snubbed, got more nominations than all of Xbox exclusives? Or was it just Starfield? Starfield had 1. And Hogwarts had 2.
Define Xbox exclusive.
Well, I suppose because Hi-Fi Rush counts.
Because Hi-Fi Rush was Xbox exclusive, but it's now out on PlayStation.
I think
as well.
I think it was just Starfield. But like, Hogwarts get more than Starfield. Interesting.
Very. So yeah, animation. I think that was rightfully deserved by Hi-Fi Rush. Artistic achievements, and that's the other one. The visual one that went to Alan Wake 2.
Visual. Would you agree? You played it.
So the other nominees were Baldur's Gate 3, Cocoon, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, and Hi-Fi Rush.
Visual.
Artistic achievement, which I feel like is more for visuals than anything.
He's maybe 16, but also Alan Wake, I don't know, what I've seen of it looks just stunning in that kind of regard.
I mean, it is a stunning game, and it artistically
it's a massive pile of shit.
I did not say it was a massive pile of shit.
Okay, small pile of shit.
No,
a turd.
I think on a technical level, it's a brilliant game.
Dangleberry.
Shush you. I think on a technical level, it's a brilliant game, and visually, yes, it is stunning. It's very surreal, so I appreciate that.
But...
For me, it's no. I think for me, it's the audio side of it that's more
you were
award-winning than the visual side.
You were a screamer
Just
without me even in the room.
Wow. But I mean, they're all very beautiful games. Like,
yeah, Cocoon.
I mean, Hi-Fi.
I actually like Cocoon. I think that could have done.
Yeah, very
could have easily won it.
specific art style, which is cool.
It's not a family game though.
We'll get to that. Audio achievement. So now, very deserved, went to Alan Wake 2. But that I 100% agree with.
Yeah.
Because that's the best thing in that game is the audio. It's phenomenal. That beat Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Hi-Fi Rush, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We're going to get a lot of the same games again and again.
Yeah.
For me, that is a deserving winner.
They love Jedi Survivor. Is that a British-made game?
No.
Really? I just found it weird that they always seem to really love Cal Kestis.
It's Respawn.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's American.
It's Respawn, which is in California.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the.
So these were in alphabetical order, but I'm going to save best game to last.
Ooh.
British game, which went to your favourite, Viewfinder.
I'm so happy that Viewfinder won. It is a brilliant, brilliant game. If you haven't played it, it's annoying because it's one of those games you can only really play once and have that magic. And it's just constantly, from the very, very start to the very end, you're just in awe of the game. And it's really so intelligently done. It's just full. I feel like the game is kind of full of people who were watching it on Twitch, just trying to work out how they do everything, and nobody still knows. Like, it's just how on earth you even do that. It's genius how you can create a level. So you've got a photo, take a picture, and then you can go into that photo. But it's like that level didn't exist before. How is it that now I put this photo here and then that level is there that I'm walking through? It's just, it's just a really technological achievement, technical achievement.
I will play it for sure.
I think you'd enjoy it on stream. I thought it was a brilliant stream game.
One stream?
Yeah, 100%. It was 2 or 3 hours.
Great.
Maybe 4. But no, 100%. Go and play that. It is, if anybody hasn't played it yet, go and play it.
Go. The other nominees for British game were Cassette Beasts, Dead Island 2, Disney Illusion Island, Football Manager 2024, and Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Realms of Ruin, of which I have played one of those games.
Sigma, isn't that the illness?
I have no idea.
Or Ligma. Ligma, isn't it? Age of Ligma.
Sure.
Do you know Ligma?
No.
Ligma balls!
Was that a very long, convoluted joke that you just made?
It's a ninja joke, I think.
A ninja joke?
Yeah. As in
And you're bringing that to the stream?
We're open to everybody here.
Sure. Anyway, best British game went to Viewfinder, which I guess you would say was deserved.
It is deserved. I mean, I've heard Cassette Beast is great as well, but I've not played it.
Yeah, I want to give that a go. Debut game went to Venba.
Another game I really want to play. Although it's only 2 hours long as well, so it's just chill for a little bit before dinner.
I'd like to give that a go. Well, before dinner, you definitely, because it's a game all about cooking and food.
Your thing.
So yeah, I'm going to play that. The other nominees were Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Stray Gods, and Viewfinder.
Dredge should have won.
Well, I do find this a little bit interesting because Cocoon, it's not that team's. Well, I guess maybe it is that team's first game, but they are known developers. It's the people behind Limbo and the other one I've now forgotten.
Inside.
Yes, and then Stray Gods is Thingy Bob, who's the writer of Dragon Age.
Oh, Thingy Bob, yeah.
Thingy Bob, yeah. Sorry, I forgot his name. David Gader. David Gader. So I'm I don't think that counts as a debut game. Debut for that specific development team, but maybe not for the people in it.
Yeah. Dredge should have won. I say that, having not played Vember.
Well, there you go. I think Vember is probably a deserving winner of that. Now, Evolving Game, which I think is quite a controversial...
Evolving has the idea of kind of...
category.
Permanently changing. Not, here's some DLC.
Yes. So on that, the winner was Cyberpunk 2077, which is because obviously it released Phantom Liberty last year.
And they fixed it.
Yes. Now, when you look at the others on the list, they're basically all live service games. So you've got Final Fantasy XIV Online, which was last year's winner.
And I think people could make the argument that, okay, Final Fantasy XIV, that's something that they just release an expansion every 2 years. But it's they're not. They're also
going for 10 years.
But every 2 years they bring out an expansion similar to Cyberpunk bringing out their DLC. But they also bring out loads of other things in between. There's the Final Fantasy 16 crossover happening right now. They have the Little Ladies event and the Valentine's event, and they have events all the time that are coming back, and they're getting new things added to it. So
and constant patches.
That is so is Cyberpunk, but that's fixing the game.
Well,
But they're adding patches that add to the main story. So that to me is an evolving game, and maybe it didn't deserve it this year because there wasn't really an expansion, so it wasn't hugely evolved. Whereas next year maybe it should have. Well, if the expansion's any good, then of what's it called again? The new one.
Dawn Trail.
Dawn Trail. I say Dawn Rail. Then if that's really good, then sure. But I just don't think Cyberpunk is an evolving game.
Yeah. So 14, Fortnite, Forza Horizon 5.
They kept adding stuff to that as well.
Okay.
But I think Cyberpunk as well, people will say that, they have added some stuff, because I think quite recently they added police chasers or something like that, or they've added something recently.
Added police into it, yeah.
But they've added something recently as well to it as well, so maybe.
Genshin Impact and No Man's Sky.
Honkai Star Rail was robbed.
Sure. So yeah, I don't think we released a game in a bad state and now we fixed it necessarily counts as evolving game.
No.
But Phantom Liberty is apparently very good, so I guess it wins for that.
Would like to play it at some point if I ever have time to, and the answer is probably no.
Family game. Now
we were just like, what, watching these?
Now this award is usually jokingly the Nintendo award, because Nintendo games are always family games.
However, this year
there was a whole mix, but then it went to Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Yeah.
Which,
Wonder.
To be honest, out of these, is the correct winner. But the other nominees were Cocoon,
It's
not
not
a family game. Dave the Diver,
Not a family
not
game.
a family
Like,
game.
what does it mean, family? Isn't a family game a game that you can play with your family, or your family can input their help, and then like it's something that you pass the controller around?
Well, this is the other thing. So the other nominees are Disney Illusion Island,
Sure.
which is definitely a family game, Hi-Fi Rush,
Well,
and Hogwarts Legacy.
see, I think Hi-Fi Rush is because they're like, oh, family, it's a cartoon. It's based on like kids' cartoons. But like, no, it's based on the people like our age who kind of grew up with those back in the day, in the early 70s. And like, but so we've grown up with them, and it's the game's about nostalgia for that. It's not about, oh, it's a cartoon for young people right now. No.
And that's the thing. Family game, is this a game specifically for families to play together in a multiplayer way? Is it just a game that is appropriate for families?
Party
is it
Animal should
games
have won.
with like a family rating for everybody? Like I don't quite understand what this award is, but then I see Mario Brothers Wonder and think, yeah, that's a family game. So I understand why it won.
Yeah.
But not the others being nominated.
What would you have put in that category?
I mean, it's a very good question. I think mainly because I don't play family games, because I mean,
Turtles, I'm a real gamer.
yeah.
FIFA. Brothers play FIFA.
Well, no, as in like,
Not to stereotype.
I don't play with my family because my family don't understand video games.
And if they did,
I
would
also
you?
no. And
Your
also,
mum plays Wordle.
oh, she bloody loves Wordle.
Oh yeah, and when you played it, you would go back and forth and talk about
we
it.
had vague interaction.
See, there you go.
Yes.
You did bond. That would be a good family game then
Sure.
for you.
But yeah, it's like we don't have children. For me, family implies
We don't have
the
children.
presence.
That's true.
Family
We keep
implies
trying. One of these days, you never know.
Gross.
Wow.
For me, family implies the presence of children, and that is
Wow.
that's
One man, one woman as well, Ed.
well. You're twisting my
Wow.
words. You're twisting
Families
my
come in
words.
all different shapes and sizes. Ed. Stop being such a bigot.
They absolutely do.
So
But
we're
when
trying
we're
to-
talking, you very easily wind me up.
I know, it's great.
But when we're talking in this sort of context, I just feel like a family game implies something that's appropriate for children as well as adults.
Fine, I'll accept that. You haven't been cancelled.
Good. So, and I don't know. I don't necessarily play games that are. Not that I only play adult games, but I also don't.
Oh, you're coming across really knobbish.
Oh, shush. Right, we're moving on. Anyway, Mario won.
Duh.
Game Beyond Entertainment. This went to Chia.
Didn't you? What did you refer to this as?
I don't remember.
The Woke Award.
Oh, the award. Oh, it's the Woke Award. Yeah. I mean, that's because that's what people colloquially will jokingly call it.
But
and it sort of is, but it's
like,
also an incredibly important award for that very reason.
Yeah, I mean, we might refer to it as the Woke Award, but like to us, woke is a positive thing. So it's like the Woke Award is like, hey, great.
This is great. So Game Beyond Entertainment is basically like a game that is important because of like a social message or a political message or something like that. So the other nominees were Chance of Senna, Goodbye Volcano.
Chance of Senna would have
Okay,
been nice.
can we just pause a second? Can I finish reading all the nominees before you jump in?
No, that's boring. Nobody cares. I'd have forgotten about everything then. We can do it one at a time because you know what my memory's like. If my memory's that bad, then I'm sure there's somebody listening that's
Chance
got
of Senna.
very good game. And the best thing about that game is that I beat it and you couldn't get past like level 2, 1.
Excuse me, it's not that I couldn't.
I
I just haven't gone back to it because I've got other things to play
Sure, Jan.
for my job.
Sure, Jan.
Oh, screw you. I'm going to go back and finish that now out of spite just to piss you off.
I think the gamer has a good walkthrough
I think you should pipe down and let me finish. Goodbye Volcano High, Terra Nil, Thirsty Suitors, and Venba, which are all very much deserving of this award. It went to Chia, which I think is deserving. It wasn't my favorite game in itself, but I think that game has highlighted an entire community of people that were sort of less well known. And for that reason, I think absolutely it deserves that award.
Exactly. I feel like it should be the Life is Strange award. I feel like Life is Strange is like in that category always. Has it won before?
Probably, but not after recent reports.
No. Well, some of them are good. 1, 2, I think, are clear.
The award for game design. Now, this is interesting because I think game design is sort of the next best award, really, after best game. Like, you're designing a game. It's like, how original is this game? How clever is this game?
Exactly. You want something a bit unique, something original, something that's that's breaking boundaries.
Yeah.
Like Red Dead. I'm just looking behind you at the images. Red Dead Redemption 2, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Like those are two kind of design leading genres games.
Yeah. It's not something can be, really polished, but just not very original. And this is celebrating things that are original. So the winner was Dave the Diver.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I told you, yeah.
Which I think is quite surprising, looking at the other games on the list. And Dave the Diver, I think it's a clever mix of genres. And you've played
it's
it
a
further
mile
than
wide
me.
and an inch deep.
Yeah. You've played more than me. You know all the extra mini games are in there. So there's a lot in it, but is it that clever?
I mean, a lot of the mini games are based on mini games in other games. So it's cool that they've incorporated all these. There's a bit of farming. There's the restaurant management. There's kind of decorating things. There's like having a farm there's like obviously the farm for your crops, but there's also a farm to grow fish and things like that. There's lots of little mini games in there, but it's just like there's no depth to it. You wouldn't make a game out of any of those side mission type things. Whereas like something, for example, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I know is obviously not an indie game, but some of those side things like the Queen's Blood and the castle thing,
Fort Condor.
Yeah, like something like that. You could probably think about, you could make a game out of those ones individually. Like that's how fleshed out they are. But like none of it in Dave the Diver is anywhere near like the quality or the depth that would make it seem like they've kind of mastered that style. So it's just, like I said, I've said it a million times, and I use the pun, and I'll keep using the pun. It's a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yes,
because they just keep adding there's just lots of things in it. But
so the other nominees here, and the very first one I think I would argue is actually the most deserving, and that's Cocoon.
Yeah.
Because I think the way that evolves its puzzle design is literally game design and is where that game really excels.
I would say that even more than Cocoon would be Viewfinder, but I don't think that's nominated.
Viewfinder was nominated.
Oh, it should have won.
So that I think is deserving.
Yeah, it's like unique, and you can never replicate that without being a copycat.
So, Dredge was nominated for game design.
I mean, Dredge, I don't know if I
think that's quite
the style and the art is great, but yeah, it's quite
a simple game.
It's like a suitcase packing game.
Yes,
it's an inventory management game. That's it.
Not
a suitcase packing game.
Resi 4. And then there's Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom, which is also very deserving of game design. Yeah. But I think people would argue that it's taking the Breath of the Wild,
even though all the things that you do are completely different to the first game.
Yeah.
Which at the first time I was like, oh, what do you mean? They got rid of all these really cool features, all the really cool skills from the first game, and now I'm like, no, actually, I think it would have been really repetitive if they'd kept them.
Yeah. And then Spider-Man 2 was also nominated for game design.
Spider-Man 1+.
Yeah, I also would say maybe not that big. I mean, it's a great game, but I don't think it's revolutionary in the way that like some of the others are. So anyway, that was an interesting award. Multiplayer.
Also, it had lots of bugs, I remember, at the start as well. So I mean, there's game design, and like, do you include it would you have a high game design if there are lots of bugs?
Or is that more of a technical thing? Multiplayer. So, not to be confused with family. But this was also won by Mario Brothers Wonder.
Which, I don't look at that game and think, oh, I'm going to play that multiplayer. Because I would not
And
play
that's
with
the
you.
thing, you can play it multiplayer. I think looking down here, it's actually no, it's not. That's a lie. I think one of the ways that it stands out is that it is like couch co-op. So it's something that you can just jump in and play with people, and I do feel like that's quite rare these days.
Hey, like Tekken.
Yeah. So, but yeah, a bit of a surprising win. The other nominations were Baldur's Gate 3, which again I also don't see as a multiplayer. I mean, a lot of people do play it multiplayer, but I see it more as a single player narrative thing.
To me, I would say a multiplayer game is a game that you get the most fun out of it, or the most enjoyment, and the primary way to play it is multiplayer.
Modern Warfare 3.
See, something like that is maybe more deserving.
Diablo 4. Maybe that's more fun in multiplayer.
I mean, it is. I played a bit multiplayer, and it was much more enjoyable.
Yeah, and I didn't. Error. Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think that would have been a really good one because I really like the way that Forza uses multiplayer because sometimes, obviously, you can play real races against other people, but they often kind of just have other cars and then they put the people that you're friends with on your friends list, they put their names above it, and it's always popping up with like where you are on their record. So there's obviously like actual multiplayer, but then there's all these leaderboards and other kind of interactive bits which I like.
Nice.
It's a racing game.
Or Party Animals.
That should have won. I love Party Animals. It's Gang Beast, but good.
No.
Why not? Is it because you lose?
Yes.
You enjoyed it the last time you played?
No, I actually quit. Yeah, then that's the thing. I quite enjoyed it as couch co-op. I just hated it online.
But yeah, even when we played with friends, though, online, you enjoy it. I think you just don't like losing to strangers, do you?
Correct. Best music went to Baldur's Gate 3.
What's theirs again?
Down by the river.
Oh, it's not bad.
I mean,
it won ours, didn't it?
Deserving.
Oh, catchiest song.
Catchiest song. The other nominees were Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So this was very much the obvious ones, apart from Assassin's Creed Mirage. I think the music in Baldur's Gate is great. So, and can we also just a shout out to the composer who accepted the award, like practically in tears. Like that man needs a hug. He was adorable.
Well, and then they won another award, and yeah,
they did.
He's getting.
And the next one in my list alphabetically is Narrative, which went to Baldur's Gate 3, which I think is the most obvious award for that game to win.
Even if the game wasn't that good, I think it would have won that category. You know, overall,
exactly. The others were Alan Wake 2, Dredge, Final Fantasy XVI, which surprises me as a nomination, Tears of the Kingdom, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
16 came away with nothing, didn't it?
I mean, I'm surprised it even got nominated, if I'm honest.
But like in general, in all of
because I don't think it was massively well received, and I think that's undeserved because I think it's great.
I thought it did really well in the critic scores.
Some, not all.
Ones that are respectable.
I don't know if narrative is what I would say 16 excels at. I mean, it does for like the first few hours, and then less so later.
Yeah, no, I think it might be deserving of other things like technical achievements. I mean, that are gameplay. Like some of the boss battles are so epic, and there's such like different takes on genres that I think it's deserving of higher.
Yeah. But Baldur's Gate, I think, absolutely deserve that. New intellectual property went to your favorite, Viewfinder.
Yeah, good. Although, yeah, I mean, new IP. Does that kind of imply that there should be more, or is it just something completely new?
I think it's just like, here's a brand new idea.
Okay, well, basically. Yeah, it deserves that because I just don't. I would love it's one of the few games that I finished and was like, okay, I won't play. I'd like to play more, but like the magic will have gone, and I don't know if they've got. Well, I'm sure there are some very intelligent and very creative people that could create maybe a sequel or DLC or something that would keep it fresh. But yeah, I just love that game, man. You would really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely will. I definitely want to play it. The other nominees were Chance of Senna, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Hi-Fi Rush, and Jusant. Of which, if we're going by your definition of intellectual property as something that could be a series and could continue, I would have said Hi-Fi Rush. But yeah, Viewfinder, clearly a good choice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like Dave the Diver and Dredge. Even though they're doing crossovers, I feel like they're just one-off stories. Although Dredge is going to be a TV show.
Film.
I'm definitely
Live
down
action film.
I want to watch that. I hope it's really quiet.
Yes.
There's not much talking. I love a film where there's
There's
not
a lot
really
of,
any
like,
talking.
boats in the dark, in the quiet, on the sea, and then bam, here comes the tentacle.
Oh, just like people kind of walking around. There's a lot of slice of life imagery, of just people wandering. And I do like a bit I think that's my favorite genre, which is probably the most boring genre ever.
Quiet.
Yeah, quiet slice of life. Like I watched a nice documentary about a northern hair salon in 1992. And it was just full of, and there was 3 salons and they specialized with like older people, and it was just kind of watching them and listening to their conversations, and they had little face to camera bits, and it was just really interesting, like a snapshot of that era.
Thrilling.
It's really, honestly, I put it in Discord. I know Chaddy was a fan. I'll make you watch it.
So the next award was for performer in a leading role, which I think everybody. Well, Ben Starr was not nominated. He was absolutely snubbed. I think everyone was expecting this to be the Baldur's Gate 3 award, but actually it went to Naji Jeter, who is Miles Morales in Spider-Man 2, who stood up with his to accept the award with like no notes, wasn't expecting it, had no speech planned.
No.
Which I think is understandable when you're up against Amelia Tyler, Neil Newbont, Samantha Bayard, all in Baldur's Gate 3. Yuri Lowenthal, also from Spider-Man 2.
But I also think
Cameron Monaghan from Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
I just think if you put some people in a vacuum and say, play Baldur's Gate, play Spider-Man, and play Jedi Survivor, I think a lot of people would have voted for him. He is a really, really good... I think there's the Baldur's Gate 3 hype. I mean, you just saw it. This guy won, and all the comments, there was just so many comments of abuse saying it's rigged, it's a terrible award show, all this is crap.
Oh, of course.
From people with Baldur's Gate 3 profile pictures.
Yeah.
And it's like, calm down, you've won everything fucking else, so just leave that, let somebody else win that. And I mean, he's fully deserved. When we were going through the nominations, I was like, oh yeah, he would be great, because I thought he was fantastic in it.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely deserving.
Yeah.
I think it's just like Baldur's Gate had so many nominees in both supporting categories that I think people expected it to just be like, well, of course they're going to win.
But he's doing like loads of voices. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 is cool, but there's lots of like interaction and they're talking, but I think the versatility of the voice acting that's needed to be freaking Spider-Man, as you're hurtling through the air, you're about to be thrown into flames, falling off a building. You're also calm as your mother. We're talking to your mother. It's just like it's a very, very versatile role.
I mean, that game is like a film.
It is like a film, yeah.
And so it's like he's a film actor, but in a game, which is impressive. Performer in a supporting role. Speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, went to Andrew Wincott, who is Raphael.
Now, you spoke to him.
I did speak to him. He was lovely. He's very Shakespearean, just in his like normal speech. His speech was amazing, like
really interesting. I look. That's another thing I really liked about the BAFTAs. They didn't like usher anybody off.
There was no music like Game Awards.
I think it was not on because it wasn't on a TV like schedule or anything like that. They were like, it's Twitch, it's on YouTube. Finish when we finish. Maybe they gave 30 minutes kind of leeway to be like, yeah, if we need to overrun, we overrun. It doesn't really matter. Which I appreciate a lot, and I think I saw a lot of comments on Twitter of people saying that as well.
Yeah, but no, he was talking about like the process of recording, and I mean, there's a recording studio that is down the road from us,
and that's what he was talking about. I was like, oh my god, yeah, the amount of Baldur's Gate 3 actors that were down the street from us.
Yeah. So the other nominees were Deborah Wilson, who is Sarah Junda.
Never seen
in Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Oh gosh, no, she's brilliant. She's fantastic.
She's great. Ralph Ineson, Sid in Final Fantasy
XVI.
Sam Lake in Alan Wake 2.
What did you think to him?
I don't think he deserved to be there.
Ooh, what, like last night? Tonight?
As a nominee in this category.
Okay. You don't, I thought you were going to say like
he's
deserved to be there at the BAFTAs. Shouldn't have been given a
not
ticket.
a performer. Tony Todd as Venom in Spider-Man 2.
I didn't think that was right, because I'm like, he's not the actual character that becomes Venom, is he? He's just the deep voice. I mean, I can do that. I've got this. Look, I got this thing here.
Well, you've got a button.
Hello, I am Venom. See, I can do that. Sorry for...
Wow.
I am joking.
Sorry, Tony Todd.
I am joking.
And Tracy Wiles, who's Jaheira in Baldur's Gate 3.
Haven't met him.
Oh, you're not that far yet?
No. Going back to the Venom bit, though, I'm just like... Yeah, I don't want to say I'm not disparaging actors or anything like that. It's just... it didn't. It's not really in the game that much. I suppose it's supporting, isn't it?
Yes.
So ignore that. But it just, I feel like the voice has been modified so much you can't really tell. And I don't know, you don't get much emotion from it because it's so modified.
Maybe if you met him and he did the voice, you'd be like, oh, it's not as modified as I thought, and actually he's done a great job.
Oh, if he has a voice that deep,
Oh,
clothes would fall.
Absolutely. The award for technical achievement, which I think was actually a very tight award.
You would know.
Yeah.
Seems very
in that
tight
I
with
think
money.
all of these are kind of worthy of it. The winner went to Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which I can 100% see.
Mhm.
I think that the technical achievement of programming like Ultra Hand and the way that players can build stuff and all of that sort of physics-based things is an absolute technical marvel. So I totally see why it won. But the other nominees were Alan Wake 2, which technically, like I say, technical side of that game is brilliant. Final Fantasy 16, which I guess on a technical level, it's a very well-made,
Technically a
polished
good game. Yeah.
Yes. Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is the only VR one here.
Yeah.
And I think
that would have
as
been
a
a statement.
as a showcase for VR, that game is a technical achievement. Like it's very well done. Spider-Man 2, which I also think is brilliant technically. If you think about all the loading time stuff and everything that's going on in that game, and Starfield, which you've played and I haven't, but that was the only nomination for Starfield.
What's the award? Technical
achievement?
No.
Is it not a technical achievement?
No. Even the main city that you go in,
Oh,
you
it's all
have
the menus, isn't it?
like generally, like even in the main city, to get from one area to another, you go through like a loading, like a travel, like fast travel. Like there's no even cohesion between parts of a main city and the like small areas, and it's just the same things on each planet, copy and pasted. So that's kind of clever that it did that, but no,
Okay.
I don't see
Ben
that.
disagrees.
Yeah.
So the last two, then there is the EE Players' Choice Award, which is the
Call of Duty.
no,
FIFA.
it is the public voted award. It's the only public voted award. So guess who that went to?
I think we know.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Which was obvious. The other nominees were Cyberpunk, Fortnite, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Lethal Company, and Spider-Man 2, which Lethal Company is a very random extra in
I
there
feel
just
like
because it was popular.
Yeah, I feel like that when they were asking for nominations, it was the 1 week, 2 week window that everybody was playing Lethal Company.
Yeah, probably. So Baldur's Gate 3 understandably has a huge audience. So I think, but they're also a very active audience, a very active online audience.
Very
so
loud.
of course they're going to jump in and vote.
Yeah.
So that's fair. And so the last one is Best Game. And the nominees were Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, Dave the Diver, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, and Mario Brothers Wonder. And the correct choice was Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. However, the best
Who did we
game...
give it to?
Who did we give it to?
Oh, where was Pikmin in this?
Yeah.
Where was Pikmin?
Pikmin was nowhere.
Was Pikmin really early? No, Pikmin should have counted.
Yeah.
Family game.
Yeah.
Could play co-op, can't you? Because you can have somebody controlling Odie.
Oh,
Or whatever his name is.
Ochi.
Ochi, yeah.
Yeah.
Should have won.
It's a technical achievement.
It is.
It has nice music.
It's a technical achievement
The
that I
voice
finished the
acting
game.
is...
Seen you do that before.
That's the voice acting. Shut up.
Anyway, yeah. Pikmin should have won.
Should have swept the board in every category.
Yeah, that's a family game.
There you go.
Yeah, because
Anyway, best game went to Baldur's Gate 3,
of course.
which I think was the obvious choice, but is very deserving.
It is very deserving, and it's the obvious choice, and it's unusual that BAFTA picked that.
Yeah, I think what they had here was, look, Dave the Diver I don't think was ever going to win. I'm sort of surprised that was in there. Spider-Man 2, yeah, I don't think it's the best game. It's a great game. It's brilliant. I don't think it's the best game. Mario Brothers Wonder also is kind of just like shoving some Nintendo in there. So I think really it's between Baldur's Gate 3 is the obvious choice, Alan Wake 2 is the like cool alt choice,
Hipster, choice,
or Zelda Tears of the Kingdom as the we're going to be different but still choose something really, really, really fucking good, which is what I would have chosen. But Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate 3, very deserving.
Absolutely.
So
Congratulations to all winners. I hope you're all getting wasted right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 won 4. Actually, it won 5. But the press release here says 4 BAFTAs and then also the player's choice, as if that doesn't count.
Oh wow, are the BAFTAs so stuck up that they don't like to associate?
Baldur's Gate 3 wins 4 BAFTAs: Best Game, Music, Narrative, and Performer in a Supporting Role. Baldur's Gate 3 also wins EE Player's Choice Award as voted by the public.
Is the EE Player's Choice Award not a BAFTA then? Or something?
It is. I mean, it is also a different colour to the others.
So
When you look at the trophies, it's like the sort of yellowy one, not the not the
they're-
gold one.
You just know that they're being
Probably.
stuck up.
Yeah, Alan Wake 2, Mario Brothers Wonder, and Viewfinder all won 2. And Spider-Man 2 wins Performer in a Leading Role. Special Effect. Oh, we didn't say that. Special Effect received the BAFTA Special Award.
Amazing
which is
charity. Really, really good. I always see them at, I mean, obviously I see them a lot at conferences and I know people that work there and they do an incredible job. For those of you who don't know, they deal with people who, I believe, I don't know if it's changed, so apologies if I got it wrong, but they mainly deal with people who've had quite sudden injuries or a sudden illness that has then made it so that they can't play games. So then they have like special controllers, or they get these controllers or ways of playing a game like specifically for those people to be able to play them. So somebody, for example, like has, let's say, a car crash and they lose an arm, then they'll be able to help them get something that they can play with just one hand and their foot or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just really, really good. And I think I believe that they worked with Xbox on their specialist controller.
Yeah,
I remember the name of it.
I think they probably worked with PlayStation on theirs as well.
Yes, maybe it was maybe it was that instead I was thinking of. But yeah, they're a really vital part of the industry.
And this also, thinking about it, is the only shout out for accessibility. And actually, I think maybe they should be adding an accessibility award.
Yeah, don't stick it on the
because they'll put it as the woke.
game.
They'll put it as the woke thing of like, oh, look at the accessibility things here. It's like, no, every game should do that. Like
they should have a negative award. They should have the video game Razzies where it's like game that just didn't give a shit about people who weren't, fully able-bodied people.
No, because then Nintendo would end up winning everything. Because Nintendo don't
or
give
Dark
a shit.
Souls games.
Or Souls games, yeah. Elden Ring.
Yeah.
The one award it wins. Should have got best game.
Do you think, oh my god, next year Elden Ring can be the best evolving game?
Yes, because the DLC, no joke, it will win. I'll vote for it. Put me on the panel.
But like,
I'll vote for it.
Yeah. They just need to make a couple of extra, they just need to make a couple of changes.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the BAFTAs. So congratulations to all the winners. I think they were genuinely all deserved. So yes, well done everybody.
Right.
And that's the news this week because there's not much else has happened.
Exactly.
So
pause 1 second. We're back. Right. Okay. What else? Well, we went to see Fallout.
yes, let's talk about Fallout.
Fallout.
Fallout, if
Should we
you're
do
not
some name
aware,
dropping as well?
if you know who they are. So we went to the premiere for Fallout. It is the new TV show from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
It is based on the Fallout TV series, which, if you haven't played, is set in the American post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the cool thing about the games is that it takes this sort of 50s, 60s sci-fi sort of atomic like humor.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sets it 200 years later, and humanity has not really evolved since then. And if anything, has got worse in the wasteland. So it's sci-fi, it's an RPG, it's very gory, it's quite funny. And I would say that is kind of what was in the show, really.
Yeah. So the show, we watched the first 2 episodes, and we saw some cool people. Saw Harry from the Traitors.
Yep.
Cheddar Gorgeous.
Yep.
Jonathan Ross, who's
Yep.
apparently a big gamer.
Yeah, he loves games.
Okay. And that was it. Well, I think there was some like Love Island people that we didn't
Yeah,
know.
I think there were some other people that were being treated as celebrities, and I'm like, is that just because you're caked in makeup?
Well, I mean, yes, and you're just talking about the guys as well. But
Yeah, literally.
they were.
Generally.
There was a guy who was like, okay, you've got quite a few tattoos. You're very attractive to a
In
Love
a
Island
stereotypical
audience.
way.
Yeah, and also you're very small, so you're probably on Love Island. There were a bunch of people like that, which was interesting because obviously you get invited to gaming things, and you meet a lot of influencers and creators, and you see the same ones again and again, and you get into that world. And then sometimes you'll get invited to something with, I think for the Blue Beetle one I was at, there were quite a few people at the premiere for that, or like at the launch party for that, who were from not just kind of Twitch. And a lot when you meet other creators from there and other influencers from like different worlds, it's interesting, really interesting. Like I'm like, you do your thing. You do your thing.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like,
we all do our thing.
I think with this TV, because it's a TV show, they're trying to attract the gamers who have played Fallout, but they also want to try and attract people who have not played Fallout. And I'm sure a lot of those celebrities have no interest in video games whatsoever.
Well, you never know.
They're just there to have the picture taken.
But you never know. There are lots of people who probably like, they go on Love Island and stuff, but they just kick back with some games in the evening. Yeah, maybe they play FIFA, and maybe you don't count that as a real gamer. But if there's also they might.
No, I would count that as a real gamer.
Yeah, but like they might like Fallout, but it's not the reason why they're an influencer. And
Look, if Ekin Su came out of the Big Brother house and then plopped down on her Xbox and started playing Fallout, I'd be like, fair play to you, love.
But she's
I don't anticipate that.
Well, she might do that in her free time rather than on Twitch. It's just like, playing video games is a hobby that millions of people love. Playing video games online and having that as your thing is a very, very small portion of that. So there are lots of people that were there, and we might be like, oh yeah, you were on I don't know, Take Me Out with Paddy McGuinness or whatever, but maybe they do play video games.
And I'd love it if they did.
Good.
I think that'd be great.
No likey,
Get some diversity up in the in opinions.
Exactly.
So anyway, we watched the episodes. We watched the first two.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are out now, so you can just go on Amazon and binge the whole thing.
Yeah.
Will you watch the rest?
No.
Okay. That was an easy question.
I enjoyed the first 10 minutes. I like,
10 minutes?
Yeah, my favorite part of Fallout games, as well as the show, is the bit before they go into the bunker.
Is that because you've never finished one, so you didn't get far enough to see anything else?
Well, I've never finished it because, I didn't know VATS existed, and the game was a bit too difficult to use a controller with when you don't have any VATS. But I didn't understand what it was. So, but I think I might enjoy it because, in the news, they've just announced that there's going to be a next gen or current gen. I wish they'd stop calling it. They're calling it next gen. I'm like, the PS5 has been out 4 years. Can we not call it next gen?
Yeah.
Is PS4 a current gen console? No. So anyway, but I played a bit of Fallout 4. And, no, I really like the beginning just because I quite like an apocalyptic movie. But I like the leading up to the apocalypse, and then the apocalypse. I don't really care for the weird stuff afterwards when it's all grim and dark and miserable.
Okay.
I loved seeing like that city just being bombed to shit.
Wow.
It was quite. I like, love a good disaster movie. Give me a disaster movie. Stick The Rock in it. John Cena as well. I am happy.
Not for me, I'm afraid.
I need to get into wrestling. WrestleMania was incredible.
No, let's not go there.
I'd rather watch WrestleMania than Fallout.
Okay. I will take Fallout any day.
Good.
But I guess maybe I enjoyed it more than you.
Yeah.
But also I feel like I've played more of the games than you.
Did you hear me huff because we didn't know that they were going to show 2 episodes, and they played 1, and then they were like, the story will continue now, and I went, oh. It's like, shit. I was down for the loo. I was like, well, I wasn't down for the loo.
I also needed a wee, and there was no break, and that was annoying. Yeah, I guess I enjoyed it more than you. I still wasn't like, it's not my favorite thing in the world. There have been, obviously the reviews have come out since then, and reviews saying that, it's just as good as The Last of Us, if not better. I'm like, no.
No, I think it is.
No, it's not. The Last of Us is much better. I was much more emotionally invested in The Last of Us. The acting in The Last of Us is also 10 times better.
Maybe there's a gay episode in Fallout.
I bloody hope so. I think the good thing about Fallout is that it's very authentic to the video games. So it's got all the things that you would expect. It's got the vaults and the blue and yellow suits. It's got the cartoon guy with the thumbs up.
Which I didn't realize it was about how far away it is.
I didn't know that either.
I think it is in the game. I feel like it triggered a memory.
Right.
But yeah.
That I hadn't clocked that either. Maybe it's something I missed. They use stim packs to deal with their health. when they're like down in the vaults. There's lots of gore and lots of like slow motion following bullets, which feels very Vatsy.
Yeah, you say there's lots of gore. That's kind of underselling it a bit. It's the goriest thing I've seen in a long time.
It's not that bad.
It's horrific. There's a man with his like foot hanging off. Well, his foot had gone.
Yeah.
That was, and like there's lots of like when they were all fighting in the bunker. No, unnecessary. And apparently there's one where they're killing animals in it as well, like killing newborn puppies. And
yeah, that was the second episode.
Oh, I think I was looking away then.
Yeah.
But I'm like, don't do that. That's one thing I hate, and I hated it in Chernobyl, and I stopped watching Chernobyl because I was like, you're just doing it. It's cheap. It's like, oh, I need to get people emotional. Let's kill some little puppies. Fuck off.
Well, it worked.
Wait, it worked in turning it off.
So yeah, there are all these references to the games. Rad roaches and I don't know how to pronounce them, but the bears that are like zombie bears. No, they're called like Yugaul or something. They're called. I can't remember. It's got a strange name. So yeah, I think it's very authentic to the game, like the world, the set design. Bethesda are involved in this. Todd Howard was there. That's the other celebrity.
Todd Howard,
we saw Todd Howard. You were like, who's that random little man? And you're like, is that Todd Howard? And I was like, nah, he wouldn't be here.
I said to you, I was like, that looks like Tom Howard. I think that's Tom Howard. And you're
Todd.
Like, yeah, Todd. I said
you
Todd.
just said Tom.
Tom Howard. I said Todd Howard.
You said Tom.
Maybe
Rewind, tell us.
I said, yeah, well, I was like, okay, that looks like Todd Howard. Yeah, I think Tom Howard just rolls off the tongue better.
Sure.
So, like, that Todd Howard, it looks like Todd Howard. And you're like, oh, it is?
Yeah. I didn't expect him to be there. He's very short.
He is tiny.
Yeah, he's a very small little man.
Something of a man. He is I was going to say something. And
a fraction of a man.
Fraction. Yes, I was going to say something that I'd probably...
You might regret.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he and Bethesda are all involved. So, I think it definitely feels authentic.
Mouse of a man.
It feels very authentic to the games. And
cockroach of a man.
I think they've said as well...
They'll never go.
I'm just going to keep talking.
Todd Howard and Celine Dion, two things will survive the apocalypse. Cockroaches, Todd Howard, Celine Dion.
Why Celine Dion?
She's like still going.
Do you mean Cher?
No, but Celine Dion. At least Cher's got talent. Celine Dion's like 2 songs.
Oh my God, somebody cancel this podcast. What? Celine Dion has talent. She has an incredible voice.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Anyway, back to Fallout.
My Heart Will Go On. Think Twice. Is that a song?
Baby, think twice. Great tune.
Mediocre.
Fucking phenomenal tune.
Okay.
Fallout. Yes, authentic to the games. I think they've talked about essentially this being almost Fallout 5, and they actually had to take ideas out of it because they're planning on using it for the actual Fallout 5 game. So it feels authentic. That's, I think, is great. I think for me, I didn't warm to the characters very much. Essentially, it's following 3 different characters who are all new. It's all brand new. They're not from the game. So there's, I can't remember the names, but there's a young woman who is in the vaults.
And grown up there and brought
who's
up there.
grown up in the vaults.
Naive.
And emerges out to explore the wasteland to find her father, which is basically Fallout 3. And it basically every Fallout game, it's always you're a vault dweller and off you go into the world. So that's sort of your eyes into it. And she, is very like innocent and naive to the world and sort of wide-eyed, which I found a bit annoying, if I'm honest.
Yeah, you didn't really like her, did you?
I wasn't a massive fan of her character, but I'm hopeful that, like I said, we've only seen the first 2 episodes. I'm hopeful that later on in the series, she sort of grows into that role a bit more. There's a guy who is in the Brotherhood of Steel, who are one of the factions in the game. They have these like massive sort of mech suits that they impose justice. So there's him, which I sort of feel like you see a little bit, maybe not enough of, really.
You seem too soon as well, don't you?
Well, that's the thing. So I'll get to that point in a minute. And the third person is the Ghoul, who is a semi-famous actor. I've forgotten his name.
But he was there as well.
He was, well, all 3 of them were there.
Yeah, but he Isn't he a character that was before the explosion? Wasn't he the?
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning, it shows you before the explosion, then he's there, and then it's like 200 years later, and he's waking up because he's a ghoul and still alive.
Zombie.
Yeah, sort of zombie man, sort of. So it's 3 stories in one, and for me, I don't think they quite got the structure and the balance right. And like I say, that might work better across the series as a whole, but in the first 2 episodes at least, the first episode is very much, I think Lucy is her name, the Vault Dweller. It's very much her story, and so it's all inside the vault. It's all very intimate interiors. You never see the outside world. And what I was hoping for is that episode is just her, and then when she emerges, it gives you that like Breath of the Wild moment where it suddenly hears the sprawling world in front of you. But A, they didn't really give you that shot, so it felt a bit of a letdown when she walked out. And B, we've already seen the outside world because it switches to the other stories. So it sort of, for me, like ruined that moment a little bit. And I really wish that if they were doing more than one character, give them like an episode each as like the first 3, and then talk about how those stories merge. So for me, it's just the balance of it wasn't quite right and the structure of it wasn't right. Like I say, it might work better later, but I felt like it didn't quite work for me. It was a bit jumbled up, and it didn't quite work. It was a bit too ambitious, I think, trying to do 3 stories in one. And yeah, just I don't know. I don't think the acting was necessarily the best, if I'm honest. I think it thrives in its set design, which is what is most authentic to the games.
And the set you want to be a big surprise, like when they do go out, because like the very beginning bit is world as normal, and then obviously like the nuclear bombs drop, and then you're under the ground, you're in the vault for so long that, it's like you're kind of starved of what it looks like, and you're in your head you're wondering what it looks like for ages up there. And just a quick switch to somebody, a new character. You're like, oh, new character. Wait, we're outside. Wait, what? Like, it's just, I was like that for a lot of it. And also just,
Well, thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
I had a nice time.
I really enjoyed the vanilla and rum milkshake.
You did.
Also, I think my tooth infection happened the day after, so I probably caught something there.
Oh.
But yeah, that was my last bit of alcohol.
Shame. I had a non-alcoholic vanilla milkshake, which was really nice.
Vanilla and rum milkshake, though. Rum raisin ice cream. That's what it tastes like, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of raisins, though.
Well, it doesn't. Raisins don't taste of anything.
Well, exactly.
Like
they're pointless.
A rum raisin ice cream, you could get rid of the raisins and it would taste the same.
Just have rum ice cream then.
You never get that, do you?
No. Anyway, Fallout was all right. I quite like to watch the rest just so that I finish the story. I don't think
when I'm in bed. Yeah.
I'll watch that alone. If you want to watch a good TV show, watch Shogun.
Yes.
Now that is fucking good.
We love Shogun, and yeah, we really love it. And in fact, actually, this weekend we love Shogun so much we're going to go into Japan.
Well, not because of
Shogun.
Show,
no, we actually started watching Shogun just after, but just because we'd heard it was really good, not because we're like looking for inspiration. For
I started the novel when I was younger, and it's like this big. It's a huge novel, and I did not get very far.
Well, that is quite huge.
All right, Ben.
Yeah.
For a book, I did not get very far. It's a pretty tricky, complicated read, but I think they do an incredible job of adapting that into a TV show. For me, it's like the best thing I've seen since Game of Thrones.
Stop stealing my phrases. That's literally what I said. The best thing since early Game of Thrones.
Yes, early Game of Thrones. Yes.
Genuinely. No, go on. But it's just like, yeah, I know the story is just really fun to follow, and it's can be difficult to follow, but they pace it perfectly. Every single episode just felt as good as the previous one. Yeah. There aren't any like massive, oh my God, this episode is the one you want to watch. It's like, no, they're all brilliant.
And also it's a complete story. The series is a complete story. It's based on one book. There's no other books to base it on. They're not doing a season 2.
Are they not?
No, it's just here is basically a film stretched out into 8 episodes. And 10 episodes. And I am totally happy to watch that.
I didn't realize that, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'll just hope they don't go like, it was really popular.
Yeah.
Why don't?
I really hope not.
Or if they're like, it's really popular, let's tell another story kind of in a similar setting, or...
No, they can't do that. They must not do that.
Or use what they've learned for something else.
Just make a different series.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, you're in a different series, like not with the same thing.
Pick a different book. Anyway, we should talk about what we've been playing because we've
Also,
talked about the news and we've talked about what we've seen, what we've been watching.
I've not really been playing anything other than Persona 5 on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, well, I finally finished Persona 3, which I wasn't going to talk about because I thought you were going to talk about Persona 5.
No,
No?
I'm gonna talk about it a lot in the future. I've got to the bit that I got to before, so there's nothing really new to talk about. And
But are you enjoying it as much as you were previously?
yeah, I'm skipping quite a lot of the cutscenes because I've done it. I've done the opening dungeon, the opening area, and like the opening dungeon probably about 4 times now. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna whiz through there because the reason is I want to play it on the Steam Deck because get to play it on the go, but also it runs incredibly well on there, and it's an OLED and it's 60 FPS, whatnot. It runs like butter, and I've really been enjoying playing it on there. Getting a lot of use out of my Steam Deck.
Good.
So yeah, it just runs brilliantly, and I will keep you informed when I get to bits that are new. But other than
Please
that,
do.
it's like, I mean, I've been playing. Did we talk about Dragon's Dogma last time? I think we did. Yes.
We did, yes.
I'm looking at the thing. I don't. What? Oh, I mean, I've been playing Elden Ring.
How is your Elden Ring journey going?
Fine. I'm killing lots of bosses. I beat Margit and the one after Godric. Beat them both within an hour of each other.
Nice.
So I went through Stormvale Castle quite quickly. I ended up on the roof, which I don't think I'd never got up there before because I was looking for because there's like a generic way that you can kind of follow to get round the castle and to leave. But for some reason, there must have been a ladder or something or a way that I didn't notice. So I ended up having to go a different way and jumped on like walls going around places and ended up on the roof and kind of cutting out the vast majority of it. And I know there's a boss in there as well. I think that I didn't even fight. Or I think actually there is a door like the mist doors, but I don't think there's a boss behind it. I think it's an area you go through.
Maybe. I mean, there's good loot there, so
There is.
worth exploring.
Yeah, I might go back at some point, but maybe not on stream. But no, yeah, fun. Now I'm in the open area. After that, you get the Breath of the Wild feeling after that castle. There's just so much now. I'm like, I don't know what really to do. So I will go and decide. I think Sunday might be the last one I play Elden Ring for a little while. Might go and then switch back to either Zelda or Baldur's Gate 3, continue that.
Zelda.
Well, no, because I did go back to Baldur's Gate 3 for a little bit before trying Elden Ring out. So I feel like I need to get to the end of Chapter 2 of Baldur's Gate 3 first.
Fine.
But Zelda's definitely going to be finished at some point.
Okay. Good. Well, I finally finished Persona 3. I have talked about it a bit on the podcast the last few weeks, so I won't go into too much detail on it, but I'm glad it's finished. It was too long, and I think it's just been interesting sort of going backwards through the series, because I first played 5, and then I played a bit of 4, and now I finished 3. And going backwards, it makes you appreciate basically how good 5 is. So I'm really excited that you're playing it, and you're going to get that experience of it, because you can really see with 3 the limitations of it and what they improved on. So rather than having multiple dungeons, they just have one, which becomes very repetitive. And the social links aren't as well developed, and your character attributes aren't as well developed. So it got to a point, basically, by the end of the game where I'm like, well, I've done everything I can do in the dungeon. I've got like my social attributes as high as they can be. So spending time with people is pointless. And then there's only a handful of social links, like the relationships, to get to top level. And at that point, I'm thinking, I'm not really invested in the stories. I'm just doing it because I'm like, well, which is closest to the top, to max level. So I'll just focus on that. So it sort of dropped off a cliff, I think, in the final third. It's like there wasn't enough to fill the time, but because it has that calendar structure of a year, it has to go through it all. So you can't, it's not Elden Ring open world. You can say, oh, I'll just skip and go to the final boss. You have to do every single day as a full structure. So it's a very structured game, and that's fine when there's a lot to do and when the story keeps you guessing. But in this, I knew what the story was going to be. I knew where it was going. I just had to force myself to get through it. So it was a bit of a trek, basically, a bit of a struggle to get through it by the end. But I do think that there's a good game in there.
And you're glad you finished it, are you?
I'm glad I finished it. I think it's got a good story and a good message. It's darker than 5. And 5's already got some dark moments, but this overall is basically about like dealing with death, and therefore enjoying and appreciating life more, which is, I think, a nice message. But yeah, it was not great towards the end. It was a slog, and I'm glad it's over because it's given me a chance to play some other things.
What are you playing now?
Well, I jumped into Dragon's Dogma 2 briefly because I wanted to play a bit more of that.
What do you think to that?
I am enjoying it. I still want to play more of it. Because I want to appreciate all of the things that other people have had, all these like weird little moments that everyone keeps experiencing. I haven't really had that, but I've enjoyed it so far. It's a typical Capcom game that doesn't explain itself very well, a bit like Monster Hunter. But I really want to put some more time into it. I don't know when I'm going to have that time because there's other things. But there's another game that I also want to catch up on, which I always talk about, which is Final Fantasy XIV, which I always talk about. So I sort of don't want to talk about it too much because I'll end up ranting. I struggled. I tried to get back into it and I struggled and I got quite angry with it. And you've been helping me a lot, so thank you.
That's
publicly, thank you.
Oh. Doesn't even do that privately.
No. Yeah, I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I've basically jumped from PC to PlayStation. I've jumped from mouse and keyboard to controller. And in some ways, I much prefer a controller. I like moving around a lot more. I think it's easier to hit all of your abilities on the controller.
Well, that's because you click the abilities on the screen.
Yes, because I am
how
a
like
child
normal people
things.
press buttons on their keyboard, like 1, 2, 3 for that. You literally go and click what you want to do.
Yes, because it's there, so I click it. And I click it, and I click the person I want to target, and off you go. And so I found healing as a white mage. I can do that on a PC, but then I go to PlayStation. This out,
by the way, I'm posting this on Twitter.
Sure. When I play it on PlayStation, I then find it. I just get confused between the aiming of on a controller. It's harder to switch between your own teammates and the enemies and switching back and forth. And I just haven't got my head around that. So I found that really confusing. Then I decided, right, I'm going to change class because I want to play Endwalker as one of the 2 classes. So I decided, as a healer, I'll stick with that and I'll go as a sage. And then I didn't know how to change classes.
Oh yeah, I taught you about gear sets. You're like 500 hours in. I taught you about gear sets.
Thank you for that. So I have gear sets now, but I didn't know how to change it. So it turns out you have to choose the right weapon, but I couldn't do that.
Did you not realize that?
It was so long ago that because I started first as Dragoon, or Lancer, then Dragoon. Then I switched to White Mage, but that was like 2 years ago. So I couldn't remember how I did it.
Not changed job since in the last 2
No,
years.
I've just been playing as a White Mage. So I didn't know how to change jobs. So I was like, okay, I need to change weapon. But then it wouldn't let me do that because my inventory and my armory was too full. And then I'm like, right,
you kept everything, didn't you?
Yeah. So now I'm like, right, well, now I need to because I save it all thinking, do I need this for another job if I was to go and switch them?
Your old ones or
whatever. Yeah, my old equipment. So then I ended up having to go and sell a load of that and sort that stuff out, then switch over. Then I changed to Sage and then just could not get my head around it. I understand how it works. You select someone to target in your team to heal, and then you heal them by then attacking the enemy. And it basically, the damage you do heals that person. But it means you've got to be really good with your targeting. And that's the one thing I cannot do with a controller. And switching back between everything,
left and right switches between enemies and up and down switches between teammates, isn't it?
Apparently so. I don't, for some reason, the logic of that just does not work for me. I don't know why. I've just really struggled with it. Please don't come for me in comments and tell me how to do things. No, don't. Please don't tell me how to do things. I'm not ridiculously stupid, but it just hasn't clicked for me.
Make a really patronizing comment, please.
Do not do that or I'll find you.
Sounds promising.
So I got really angry. However,
you did, didn't you?
I got very angry, and I'm sorry for that.
That's fine. Things that he said about Final Fantasy XIV, he didn't mean that.
I have a bit of a love-hate thing with it. There are bits of it I love and bits of it that I find very frustrating.
I will not be shoving Final Fantasy XIV where he suggested I do.
I did not say anything of the sort. Anyway, I then decided, right, I'm going to go back to DPS because that is simpler in terms of controller layout anyway, and in terms of not having to think about healing, not having to think about tanking, which I've
you
never
just
done.
dick around at the back and they let the tank and the healer sort it out on the other DPS.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then I thought, you know what? I'm going to play as a Reaper. So I've started as Reaper, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm so happy about that because, okay, I'm starting at level 60, so I'm not at the right level I need to be for Endwalker pre-patches, but I'm doing some leveling to get there. But that's also given me a chance to just learn the controls.
Yeah.
I went to a YouTube video, just the first one I clicked on, and which was a controller setup for Reaper, and I was like, I really hope this is right. And so I sat and went through and I sorted out all the moves into the right place. And then I'm working out the rotation and I'm like, oh, this is actually a nice controller setup. It makes sense to me. I know that I can just run around up to enemies. I can do my different slices and my little moves and just have fun. And I barely got hit, and a couple of people occasionally healed me. And I actually played it online. I did not die quite a lot.
In the trial?
I died once. No, I did an allegiance.
An alliance raid.
Alliance raid. That's the word.
That was only 5 to 6 times.
That one, I died once, and I waited a while because I was pressing the button.
Oh, that was right. You kept
denied
rejecting.
It. Rejected it instead of accepting. I was just like button mashing, like, let me back in.
I just kept rejecting people's heals.
Good. But
it's like, I'm fine. Like, Ed, no, let them do it.
But I think I might have found my calling with Reaper. That on controller, sitting back, relaxing, playing it on a PlayStation on a screen on the sofa. I think this is clicking for me at last.
Exactly how I felt when I started Samurai.
Yeah.
You get the rotations, you feel quite powerful, you get to do it's just, I know, it just makes sense to me. It clicks to me.
Yeah. And this has finally clicked for me. I sort of enjoyed healing as White Mage, but it's just, I think for me that is more of a mouse and keyboard thing, and I would much rather sit on the sofa and play that game. Whenever I play games on a PC, it feels like work.
Oh yeah, I don't like PCs are for Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah,
that's what it's for.
So that's why I don't like sitting literally here in this chair playing a PC, playing Final Fantasy. It feels like it's work, and I want to be able to enjoy it just as a normal game, which for me is a console thing because I'm a console player. I'm sorry. Yeah. So playing that as a console experience, I'm not a Sony pony. I have no allegiance to any console. I like them all.
I don't know. I saw some comments on Eurogamer that suggested that you love Sony.
Well, they were incorrect. Whoever that person was.
Will you be playing Starfield?
No.
Will you be playing Forza?
No.
Will you be playing Final Fantasy XVI?
Yes.
The DLC? Oh, my point stands.
No.
No, you'll be playing Hellblade though, won't you?
Oh, I'm absolutely going to play Hellblade. Yes.
Hi-Fi Rush?
Hi-Fi Rush.
On PlayStation when it comes to PlayStation.
No, I played that on Xbox first thing. I loved it.
Also, Sea of Thieves?
Is for you, not for me. So yeah, honestly, I will play any game on any console. If the next Final Fantasy came out on an Xbox, I'd play it on an Xbox.
I mean, I think the best place you can play Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age is on an Xbox.
There you go.
60 FPS. Apparently on the PlayStation, they released it too early and they didn't get the 60 FPS patch. And I don't think it's had it since.
Shocking. Anyway, that's what we've been playing. But what have you lot been playing?
What were you playing last week? Because we didn't ask the question of the day this
now
week.
I need to quickly scroll back on my phone through Discord. So if you want to talk to people.
By the way, I'm very happy that... so Finn, hello Finn the Waffle, who is here in London at the moment and has just seen Standing at the Sky's Edge and said, this was amazing. So, yeah, very glad you enjoyed that.
Excellent.
Also, let's have a look. We've got a... there's a mod view now available on mobile Twitch. So if you are a moderator on Twitch, you can do that. Yeah, so there you go. Is that good enough?
That was good enough. I've got my first person, which is Jackie B. Jackie says, this weekend I bought my first Switch. Of course, my first game for it was Minecraft, bought for me by Jem and Liz. I've played a bunch of that and love it as much as ever. I also bought this little cozy game called Sprout Valley. You play as a cute little cat who decides to leave the city and buy a little homestead on an island. You work to build up your farm and occasionally travel to different islands to collect more resources. It's a lot of fun and well worth the $2 that I spent on it. $2? Bargain. Absolute bargain. Riley says, still obsessed with the Stardew Valley 1.6 update, to the point that I made a new farm with a new character to try out a different romance. I mean, any excuse to keep going. Mr. Wibble, I finished Super Mario RPG. What a game. And the credits themselves were totally worth it. It was like being in Disneyland, literally. Ha ha ha.
What's your best video game credits? I think Nier Automata.
Automata. You said that purely just to say
no,
that.
I
and
didn't. I
irritate me.
said it, and then I was like, he's going to actually pick up on that.
I can't think of particularly good credits.
Remember Automata? When you're fighting things?
Kind of.
Fight.
I remember the credits in Smash Brothers where it becomes a shooting game and you have to shoot all of the credits.
Oh, they had
All the
that in...
people.
Oh my God, they had that in a game I recently played at the end. No.
I also saw something about the credits of Rebirth, which I hadn't noticed, and I saw a tweet about it, but I won't say because it's a spoiler.
Good. One day I'll finish it.
You will. Wibble continues. Mario RPG, not a terribly difficult game once you stock up on consumables, but it has a really cute story and a wonderfully wholesome conclusion for as much as you can with Bowser. That's probably the most important bit. I've been too damn busy with all of the things.
Dave the Diver, I think that was the one that had a shooting.
Oh, I can imagine something.
end,
Like
yeah.
that, yeah. Chaddy, I've gone back into Final Fantasy XVI, and I'm pretty sure I should avoid story spoilers, but I'm loving the game so much, and I am very, very happy to hear that.
Same. I'm going back to that soon.
Good. I want to play the whole thing again. I've already played it twice, and I've got a real urge to play the whole thing again.
Don't bother. You've got other games
But
to
I'm
play.
excited to play the DLC.
Just watch me.
No. The cutscenes are incredible. The story is great, although a little confusing, but has me gripped to keep playing. I love the combat, even if a bit button mashy at times, but finally my FF cherry has been popped, and I am so glad about it. I would definitely recommend it to anyone trying to get into the FF world who maybe hasn't played one before, especially if you like big story action games. I can't take all the credit as the recommendation came from Ed himself. You're welcome, Chaddy.
I think it came from both of us, but sure.
But me.
Only listen to one
I
person.
have... No, it was both of us. I have a bit of time off over the next couple of weeks, so I'm hoping to play more. Keep us posted, Chaddy. I hope you enjoy it up to the end.
Yes.
And
it's
also...
brilliant. It is a really good game to get into Final Fantasy. I mean, there are lots of Final Fantasy games that come out. So having one that's like the mainline one that gets people in, that's exactly what it should be for.
Yeah.
Because then you'll be going and playing 7 Remake and Rebirth.
And it does sort of stand alone as its own thing because it is a bit more action RPG.
Yeah.
But if that's a gateway for people into the rest of the series, then it's done its job.
He'll
and it's
be-
a brilliant game in its own right.
Maybe Charlie, you could learn how to play Sage on Final Fantasy XIV.
How dare. No, I think you should go and play Final Fantasy IX next.
No, it's old. It's unplayable. Literally unplayable.
It's
Any
not
game that's over
unplayable.
18 months old, unplayable.
It's had a remaster already.
Has it?
Yeah, there's like the remastered version of it, which like sharpened graphics.
Oh, it's polishing a turd can only make it so shiny.
9 is not a turd.
Oh well, not polishing a turd would say it's like a really old good film, just making it a little bit, putting it's in color. It doesn't make it necessarily worthy of cinema.
That was very convoluted and incorrect. Klasko says, I played a bit of Great Ace Attorney Chronicles over Easter. It took me a while to get used to the
Objection!
characters.
That's what they say.
I know. But I quite like them now. The Britain setting does appeal too. Of course.
Is it
Britain's
same Britain?
great.
Or is it just that one?
Lily...
That's all inside a courtyard. Inside a courtroom.
Yes, I mean, it's an attorney game. So yes, it's in a courtroom. Lily Lavi says, I've been playing AFK Journey, a new AFK mobile game, but with an actual story and roaming around, like a gacha RPG with the usual AFK elements. Now, you started that, didn't you?
No, I
You didn't.
downloaded it. Then I downloaded the extra assets because they're like, you can get some more 3,000 bubble points if you download this, and then you get some currency for this as well. And I was like, no, I'm not starting it. Not starting it. I don't want all these current. No.
Too much.
Even though I've heard it was good. No. And then I went and opened up or re-downloaded Honkai. So I don't really know about that game either.
Great.
Give me some more like Marvel Snap-esque games. Maybe I should go and give that a go again.
Madam Nee says, finally bought Death Stranding. Not made it super far in so far, but enjoying the bonkers world building. Do I have any idea what's going on? No. Is it pretty as hell? Yes.
Wait till the end, though. Wait till the end. It explains. I feel like it wraps up the story perfectly.
Yeah, that's fair. And then lastly, we have Dan Law, who says, in shocking news, I'm still playing Rebirth. Still plodding along, clearing each area and doubling back for new quests. Yes, I'm that person. So was I. Like how they've made traversal somewhat unique for each area. I'm at the point where if a minigame becomes frustrating, I'll just walk away though. May or may not come back to them later. Feel this has become more of a thing since finding out about the... A thing, which I won't say to you.
Wow.
And yes, extra things. I've reached chapter 11. Story-wise, it's interesting to see how Crisis Core is touched on. Do wonder if certain moments are less impactful for those that haven't played it, and in the same vein, if I'm not getting the full experience having not played the original Final Fantasy VII. This is something I worried about for other people as well.
I was thinking, do I need to play? Because I'm not in a rush to play Rebirth, and I'd like to continue with it on YouTube, but actually playing on YouTube and having the series out there being updated when quite a lot of people have played it, maybe like starting it was good, and then I'm going to play it a little bit later when people can actually join and watch and who've already experienced it. But I'm like, in this break, do I go and play Crisis Core? Is that worth it? Because I don't think I wouldn't do a playthrough on stream for that.
So with Crisis Core, before I'd played Rebirth, I was like, I think Crisis Core might be part of it, or might be linked back to. Having now played Rebirth, I think not playing Crisis Core, I don't think it would impact your enjoyment that much. I think there are characters from Crisis Core that are in Rebirth that aren't brought up, and that's not referenced in any way. So it's more of if you've played Crisis Core, you'll recognize them. I think there is a dark-haired, spiky person in the game, yes, who has a lot more story in Crisis Core, and there is a lot of him in Rebirth. And so maybe having played Crisis Core, you would have more of a feeling towards him, which you wouldn't have otherwise.
I have a feeling towards him.
You don't?
I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
And what is that feeling?
He's attractive.
Okay. Well, then maybe you'll enjoy playing Crisis Core.
I like my dark-haired twinks.
Sure. I mean, it's like 10 hours, so, it's
unless you want the
long.
platinum. Isn't it like 500 missions or something?
What's more important is that you play the original.
Crisis Core?
No, the original Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, no, what's the point? There's a better version of it.
It's not a better version of it. I will say that. I think... I don't know. I just feel like if it's a remake of a game, especially one that is reinterpreting it in a different way, I still feel like you're missing something having not played the original.
Perfect.
So there we go. Just to finish Dan's point, he said, concerned that the story is more convoluted than necessary in some respects. But can't say for sure until I've actually completed the game. Oh, and Queen's Blood just keeps getting better and better. All I'll say on that. Agreed.
Does it?
Queen's Blood is just incredible. I would pay a lot of money to have that as a standalone game.
It's too much chance involved. There's not really that much skill.
Then you don't have the right deck.
My deck is perfectly fine. Speaking of CAD games, we didn't really touch on it, but Final Fantasy XIV, I played the 16 crossover event. We both have.
Yes. Oh my god, we both played that.
And
that's what got me back into it first, and then I faffed around with jobs.
So I did that, but we'll talk about it in a second. But I got the Final Fantasy 16 Clive card
for Triple
Triad. Cost me 200,000 megapers. And
was it worth it? Do you play Triple Triad?
Not really. So I haven't got the best deck. So I went to fight somebody, and I still lost. But I think if you have like all the best cards in a deck, then you're gonna kind of steamroll most people. But so I just need to slowly build up a really good deck.
Okay. I'm really tempted to get into Triple Triad. Queen's Blood has inspired me.
Mm,
But yeah, the 16 crossover was good. It's like an hour. It's not very long.
no.
Clive looks great.
Yeah, and I think he is going to be like a model that they're going to be using in future. Because people are saying like, oh, it doesn't mean that it's, it's not an example of what the NPCs are going to look like in future. This is just, it's him because they have to base it on 16. And I'm like, but they're going to bring him back. The 15 event they brought back a couple of times, and I'm sure they will for this as well. And the next time they bring him back, it's going to be when the graphical updates happen. So of course it's going to look weirdly out of place if it's old school him or old version him. So yeah, I'm sure it is.
It's a nice nod to the story of 16 as well, which is good.
Where does it take place? Because I was trying to work it out. Like, is it between the time skip in 16? Because
I don't think it's like
canon. No, but it's like he's appeared from the other world and he's trying to figure out his memory loss and what he did. But I'm like, where do I place that?
I think the crossover in 14 is about as canon as like Disney characters in Kingdom Hearts.
It must be canon because it was Yoshi P that did it.
Right. Do you know what? If I ever speak to Yoshi P again, I will ask him, do you consider this canon?
I think you should go onto your computer straight after this podcast and send off to the PR.
Drop him a message.
But like, that might be quite an interesting thing because if he says it's not, that's a headline. If he says it is, that's a headline.
If you say so.
It is.
I mean,
put it on
it probably is quite interesting, yes. I will consider that. But I would say it's not canon. It's just a nice nod to his story.
I think it is pure canon.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out. Maybe. If I do my job.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we've been playing. That's what you've been playing. It's what we've been talking about. Should we just end it here?
I mean, there's nothing else to say.
There isn't. No, we've been going on for ages. So thank you very much for watching. We will be back next week. What are we doing? Oh, tomorrow we're off to see Coco Peru.
Yes.
Who is one of my favorite drag queens. In fact, I got into her when I lived in Spain, watching her play GTA. She was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 as a drag queen, and it was hilarious. You should go and check it out. And then I watched literally every single one of her videos, followed her, and she's just brilliant. And I can't wait. We're going to go to the meet and greet as well.
We do.
So we'll have a picture. I'll dress them out.
Decide what to wear.
Then nice brunch on Saturday. But yeah, next week we are doing an interview on the Friday, but Thursday we'll put the podcast out. We'll record the podcast on the Thursday. So we will have a normal podcast next week, but there might be something a little bit special.
Oh, there will be. I think maybe the week after.
Okay, we'll do it then.
There will be another special episode. So yes, look out for that. I guess we'll tell you next time.
Yeah,
what it is.
It's brilliant. It's not a voice actor necessarily,
or is it?
But yeah, we will. You'll find out. So thank you very, very much for watching. Swappingjoysticks.com is where you go for all your swapping joysticks needs. And Ed, where can we find you?
You can find me at ed_nights on Twitch and on Twitter.
And you find me at Biggest Bennis on Twitch, Biggest Bennis1 on Twitter. And yeah, I will. We'll see you when I see you.
Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.